Welcome to Hollywood Graveyard, where we set out to remember and celebrate the lives of those who lived to entertain us by visiting their final resting places. Today we're back at Westwood Village Memorial Park, where we'll find such stars as Ryan O'Neal, Gena Rowlands, Richard Simmons, Peter Bogdanovich, and many more. Join us, won't you? Welcome back to Pierce Brothers Westwood Village. I had to do a double take when I realized it's been nearly 5 years since we were last here, way back in 2021. Holy cow. Well, it's good to be back, to see some familiar names and meet some new ones as well. This is our 6th video tour of Westwood Village, a testament to just how many notable entertainers rest here in this teeny tiny cemetery. If you haven't done so already, be sure to check out our first 5 videos of Westwood Village Memorial Park. Let's begin at the section immediately on the left as you enter the cemetery. Just south of the Hammer Mausoleum, next to Eva Gabor and John Cassavetes, we find the grave of actress Gena Rowlands. She was nominated for 2 Oscars in her career, for A Woman Under the Influence and Gloria, both made in collaboration with her husband, John Cassavetes.
Mickey, don't be afraid to hurt my feelings. Tell me what you want me to be, how you want me to be. I can be that. I can be anything. You tell me, Mickey.
She also won 4 Emmys, including for her portrayal of Betty Ford in The Betty Ford Story. She was given an honorary Academy Award in 2015 in recognition of her unique screen performances. Other notable roles include Adrienne in Peyton Place and Allie in The Notebook. Gena lived to be 94. Immediately across the street south is a small cremation section. Here we find the grave of Marc Lawrence. He was a character actor who specialized in underworld types and menacing gangsters. His films include The Man with the Golden Gun, The Asphalt Jungle, and Cloak and Dagger. Later in his career, he even made an appearance in From Dusk Till Dawn. Marc lived to be 95. He was married to Fanya Foss, a screenwriter active in the 40s to the 60s. Her films include Why Girls Leave Home and Nightmare in the Sun. And she wrote episodes of shows like The Rifleman and Have Gun Will Travel. Another nonagenarian, Fanya lived to be 91. Just southwest is another screenwriter who will be familiar to you if you saw our film Graves from the Black Lagoon. Harry Essex was one of the screenwriters of the classic 1954 Universal monster movie, Creature from the Black Lagoon. Other notable films include It Came from Outer Space, The Fat Man, and Man-Made Monster. Harry also wrote some television episodes for shows like 77 Sunset Strip and The Untouchables. If he were a play, one could say Harry had a great 86-year run. Northeast on this lawn, right next to the road and a palm tree, is the grave of Ed Ames. He was known for playing Mingo on the 60s TV series Daniel Boone. Ed was also a singer who had a popular series of easy listening hits in the 60s, like My Cup Runneth Over and When the Snow is on the Roses. Ed lived to be 95. Wow, lots of longevity here today. Heading into the middle sanctuary across the street, the Sanctuary of Devotion, let's turn our eyes up on the back wall to find the niche of Margaret Whiting. She was a popular singer in the big band era of the 40s and 50s. She was the featured singer with several big bands, with hits including Moonlight in Vermont and That Old Black Magic.
That old black magic has me in its spell.
She also had hits as a solo artist, including A Tree in the Meadow in 1948. On television, she teamed up with her actress sister Barbara to star in the sitcom Those Whiting Girls. She lived to be 86. The next corridor down is the Sanctuary of Tranquility. Halfway up the back wall on the left is the niche of a noted voice actress we've featured in past special editions, but not in a Westwood video. June Foray was a prolific voice actress, mainly of cartoons. Some of her more memorable characters include Rocky the Flying Squirrel and Natasha Fatale.
What would you like to buy? Buy? I I thought you were greeting us with open hearts. Buy a souvenir of Hollywood, darling.
Sure. Postcards, oranges, cemetery lots, battle smog, all kind tourist attract.
Also Cindy Lou Who, Jokey Smurf, and more. She provided voices for countless shows, including DuckTales, Adventures of the Gummy Bears, Garfield, the Looney Tunes.
I'm so deathly afraid of getting pretty as I grow older. Pretty?
You also heard her in Teen Wolf, Alvin and the Chipmunks, and even in The Twilight Zone as the Taki Tina doll. And on the big screen she played Grandmother Fa in Mulan. In her comparison to Mel Blanc, animator Chuck Jones was once quoted as saying, "June Foray is not the female Mel Blanc. Mel Blanc is the male June Foray." June lived to be 99, passing away in 2017. Just outside this sanctuary, next to the road, is the grave of Steve Inwood. The actor is known for roles in films like Fame and Staying Alive, and appearances on shows like Murder, She Wrote and Matlock. He retired from acting in the 90s. Steve lived to be 78. Let's head now to the room of prayer in the northeast corner. This room is typically kept locked, but with a little Hollywood magic, we're in. High on the wall to the right, we find an actor of Italian descent, Michael Gazzo. You fans of the Godfather films will remember him for his Oscar-nominated performance as Frank Pentangeli in The Godfather Part 2.
I want to earn my family without you on my back. And I want those Lozano brothers dead.
No.
Mort.
Other films include Cannonball Run 2 and Last Action Hero. He also wrote a successful Broadway play, A Hatful of Rain, which was later adapted into a film. Gazzo died from complications of a stroke at age 71. Lower to the left on this same wall is the niche of actor Charles Aidman. He was a familiar face to television audiences for decades, making appearances on many of the major shows of the early television era, including Gunsmoke, The Dick Van Dyke Show, Have Gun Will Travel, The Magical World of Disney, and The Twilight Zone. In fact, after appearing in 2 episodes of the original Twilight Zone series in the 60s, decades later he would take over the role of narrator from Rod Serling, who had passed, to narrate the 80s reincarnation of The Twilight Zone. And his film roles include Countdown and War Hunt. Charles died from cancer at age 68 and rests here with his wife Betty, who was a dancer and choreographer for the show Circus of the Stars. At the bottom of the central columbarium here, we find a burlesque star named Dixie Evans. The exotic dancer was sometimes called the Marilyn Monroe of burlesque, performing a burlesque parody as the Blonde Bombshell. For decades, she titillated audiences on stage and made equally saucy appearances in films like Too Hot to Handle, The Mafia Girls, and Smut. Later in her career, she ran the Exotic World Burlesque Museum and Striptease Hall of Fame. Dixie wanted to be near her inspiration, Marilyn Monroe, after she passed. And so she was. Marilyn is just outside this room in the corridor of memories. Back out into the California sun, we turn south to the Sanctuary of Remembrance. Low on the right wall is the crypt of Sidney Lanfield. He was a noted director of sitcoms in the 60s. Perhaps most notably, he directed a majority of the episodes of the original Addams Family. He also directed about half of the episodes of McHale's Navy, which earned him an Emmy nomination. On the big screen, he directed the 30s films Moulin Rouge and The Hound of the Baskervilles. Sidney lived to be 74. He was married to Shirley Mason, an actress from the silent era. Shirley appeared in over 100 productions between 1910 and 1929. Her films include The Awakening of Ruth, Sally in Our Alley, and Sweet Rosie O'Grady. Shirley died from cancer at age 78. Let's head now to the southernmost wall of this mausoleum complex. Above eye level is the crypt of another voice actor, whose best-known character is featured right on his marker. Jason Davis voiced the cartoon character Mikey Blumberg in 129 episodes of the animated series Recess.
What a beautiful soul.
I hate that guy. How could this have happened? How? I'm the best poet in 4th grade, not Jared.
He also made appearances on shows like Seventh Heaven and films including Beverly Hills Ninja. Jason died at just 35 from an accidental overdose. If you've ever visited Westwood, you've probably noticed this elevator here. Maybe you've wondered where it leads. Maybe you've even tried pushing the call button to no avail. Well, to satisfy your curiosity, there is actually a secret, private underground corridor here called the Sanctuary of Prayer. Let's go check it out. Ooh, blinding sun. Sorry about that. And we're off. Any minute now. Wow, this elevator might actually be slower than the one at Mount Sinai. Are we stuck? Oh, there we go. And here we are. Oh, look at this. It's a charming little space, isn't it? It's pretty tiny. This is the extent of it. Along the back right wall, bathed in purple light, is the crypt of a noted composer and songwriter named J. Livingston. He teamed up with Ray Evans, who is buried outside, composing music and songs for films. Livingston wrote the music while Evans wrote the lyrics. Among their notable hits are To Each His Own, Buttons and Bows, Mona Lisa, and perhaps their biggest hit, written for the film The Man Who Knew Too Much, and referenced right here on his marker, Que Sera Sera, Whatever Will Be, performed by Doris Day. The song would win them one of their 3 Oscars.
Que sera, sera, whatever will be, will be.
Jay was originally entombed a few spaces away from Marilyn Monroe out in the Corridor of Memories. But in 2009, he was moved here to the Sanctuary of Prayer so he could be entombed with his wife, Shirley Mitchell. Shirley was an actress. She had a successful career on the radio, on programs like Fibber McGee and Molly, before moving into television. Memorable roles include as Marion Strong on I Love Lucy, Opal Clampett on the Beverly Hillbillies, and a regular performer on the Red Skelton Hour. And Shirley's films include The War of the Roses. She lived to be 94. We say goodbye to this lovely little sanctuary and make our way to the private garden area immediately south. Herein rests an icon of fitness, Richard Simmons. He promoted weight loss and fitness through his television show, The Richard Simmons Show, in the 1980s. This led to a popular line of aerobics videos, Sweatin' to the Oldies.
Oh, you're burning fat. I feel more.
Richard became a cultural icon, making appearances as himself on numerous shows like General Hospital, Arrested Development, Whose Line Is It Anyway, and more. He died from complications of a fall and heart disease at age 76. Richard Simmons is now forever sweatin' with the Holies. In our previous video, we visited legend of Hollywood's golden age, Kirk Douglas. At that time, the marker here was just temporarily marked, with his name added to the top of the marker that had been placed for his son Eric. Since that time, their tombstone has been remade, and this is what it looks like. Kirk ranks among the greatest male stars in cinema, nominated for 3 Oscars in his career. His notable films include Champion, Lust for Life, and Spartacus.
Tell them you and that broken stick is all that's left of the garrison of Rome. Tell them we want nothing from Rome. Nothing. Except our freedom!
Putting all his nonagenarian neighbors here to shame, Kirk lived to be 103. Let's head south into the fountain area, the Garden of Serenity. Here is the niche of J. Sandrich. He was a noted director of some of your favorite television shows, including The Mary Tyler Moore Show, The Cosby Show, Soap, The Golden Girls, The Bob Newhart Show, Night Court, and more. He won 4 Emmys in his career, and in 2020 was inducted into the Television Hall of Fame. Jay lived to be 89. Rounding the corner south, there is another private garden area. Here lies actress, musician, and daughter of legendary comedian Carol Burnett, Carrie Hamilton. On television, Carrie is remembered for playing Reggie Higgins in the 80s series Fame, and making guest appearances on shows like Beverly Hills 90210, Touched by an Angel, and The X-Files. Her big screen roles include films like Cool World and Shag. Carrie also worked with her mother to adapt Carol's memoir, One More Time, for the stage play Hollywood Arms. But she would never see it produced. Carrie died at just 38 from complications of cancer. To honor her daughter, Carol Burnett wrote a best-selling memoir, Carrie and Me, a mother-daughter love story. Back out to the main road, let's stop at a familiar sight. In a previous video, we visited television legend Farrah Fawcett. Since that time, she has been joined here in the grave by actor Ryan O'Neal. He was nominated for an Oscar for his role in Love Story. Ryan also played the title character in Stanley Kubrick's Barry Lyndon, and made memorable collaborations with Peter Bogdanovich in the films What's Up, Doc? And Paper Moon, which co-starred his daughter Tatum O'Neal in an Oscar-winning performance. She was just 9 at the time.
Just hold on. Let me explain something to you.
It ain't as if you was my pa, that'd be different.
Well, I ain't your pa, so just get that out of your head. I don't care what those neighbor ladies said.
I look like
You
that.
don't look nothing like me. You don't look any more like me than you do that Coney Island. Eat that damn thing, you hear?
We got the same job.
Lots of people got the same job.
It's possible.
No, it ain't possible.
Then I want my $200.
All right.
On television, Ryan had regular roles on shows like Peyton Place and Bones as the title character's father. Ryan died from heart failure at age 82 and now rests here with his beloved Farrah. Just a few spaces down is a man with the perfect epitaph for his career, film producer Charles Fries. According to his obituary, Fries enjoyed a prolific career in the film and television industry, spanning over 60 years. He participated in the production of over 5,000 series episodes, 140 television movies and miniseries, and more than 40 theatrical films. In the 60s, he was vice president at Screen Gems, where he was involved in the production of such classics as Naked City, Route 66, Bewitched, Hazel, The Monkees, and Father Knows Best. And among his films he produced is 1982's Cat People. Chuck lived to be 92. Over now to the Rose Garden, where ashes are interred, we find actress Neva Patterson. On stage, she originated the role of Helen in The 7-Year Itch. On television, she played Maggie on The Governor and JJ, and Ma Ketchum on Nichols. And her films include David and Lisa, and An Affair to Remember. Neva lived to be 90. Over to the small wall of markers here in the Rose Garden, we find another one from our graves from the Black Lagoon special, filmmaker Jack Arnold. He was one of the preeminent directors of sci-fi and horror in the 50s, helming several of the notable films of this era, including Creature from the Black Lagoon, also It Came from Outer Space and The Incredible Shrinking Man. He also directed the documentary With These Hands, which earned him an Oscar nomination. Later in his career, he'd be known for his work directing television, including episodes of shows like Gilligan's Island, Rawhide, Mod Squad, Love American Style, The Love Boat, and The Brady Bunch. Jack died from arteriosclerosis at age 75. Behind Jack, right near the chapel, we find the grave of a filmmaker named Wolfgang Petersen. Even if you don't know his name, you likely know his films. Wolfgang burst onto the scene with his 1981 war film, Das Boot, which earned him 2 Oscar nominations. His next film was one many of us who grew up in the 80s remember well, The Never-Ending Story.
For anyone who's ever made a wish, believed in a fantasy, or had a dream, this is The Never-Ending Story.
In the years that followed, he gave us Outbreak, Air Force One, The Perfect Storm, Troy, and more. Several of his notable films are inscribed right here on this bench next to his grave. And the quote on top is from Troy. Wolfgang lived to be 81. Let's make a few last stops out in the Central Lawn area. Right next to Dorothy Stratton is the grave of award-winning filmmaker Peter Bogdanovich. In 1971, he directed and co-wrote The Last Picture Show, which was nominated for 8 Academy Awards, winning 2.
Tony Bennett's Cold, Cold Heart was on everybody's hit parade. Elizabeth Taylor was getting married. Boys wore ducktails. The police action in the Far East was Korea. And Anarene, Texas, like other small towns, is approaching the end of an era.
This established him as one of the great filmmakers of his era. More acclaimed films would follow, including What's Up, Doc and Paper Moon. Peter also appeared in front of the camera as an actor in films like Targets, St. Jack, and he played Dr. Comferberg on The Sopranos. Peter was romantically involved with Dorothy Stratton at the time of her murder in 1980 by her estranged husband. The news devastated him. He helped facilitate her funeral arrangements, including choosing the inscription on her stone here. 42 years later, they were reunited when Peter was laid to rest here next to her after his death at age 82 from complications of Parkinson's disease. For our last stop of the day, let's pay another revisit to a star we've featured in a previous video, but who, like Kirk Douglas, has had a marker makeover. Just west we find the newly remarked grave of Donna Reed. Her new marker features the perfect epitaph for the beloved actress. It references her roles in 2 classic films, playing Mary in It's a Wonderful Life.
This is what I wished for.
You see, George, you really had a wonderful life.
And Alma in From Here to Eternity. She won an Oscar for her role in the latter.
What do you want to go back to the army for?
What do I want to go back to the army for? I'm a soldier.
A soldier, a regular from the regular army. A 30-year man.
I gotta turn off the lights. Because of the blackout outside.
Later in her career, Donna had a popular television show, The Donna Reed Show, which ran for 275 episodes in the 50s and 60s. This is what her original grave marker looked like, but it was replaced with this new one sometime in 2025. A much more fitting tribute to one of Hollywood's most beloved actresses. Donna lived to be 64, passing away from cancer in 1986. And that concludes our tour. What are some of your favorite memories of the stars we visited today? Share them in the comments below, and be sure to like, share, and subscribe for more famous grave tours. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one. The most visited grave here at Westwood is that of Marilyn Monroe. But even in such a small cemetery, she can be a little difficult to find. If you get lost looking for Marilyn, Stevie Don Cochran has your back. His epitaph reads, "Marilyn is around the corner." Indeed she is. Thanks, Stevie Don.